What's a king to a nos? What's a nos to a king? What happens when the action sequences are in a sequel that don't mean anything? The banter ain't good, and the villains are wooden. The Accountant to Mathematician Boogaloo was once again directed by Gavin O'Connor and written by Bill Dubuque, who did The Accountant, and also Bill ended up doing Ozark. So you can check out their IMDb pages for the full listens of their work. If you have not seen the first Accountant, it came out all the way back in 2016. My God, I just reviewed that, and it's hard to believe it's been 9 goddamn years since that came out. Well, not a lot has changed for Chris or Christian Wolf. Maybe he's Sister Christian. Oh, his time has come. And he knows that he's the only one that must save the day. Could have done that if I wanted to, but I decided to go with a little Kanye West to just butcher Kanye West's name somehow less than he has butchered his own name. Anyway, so Ben Affleck, John Berthal, as well as Cynthia Addai Robinson, J.K. Simmons, Allison Robertson, as well as Allison Wright. And they return in this movie, and newcomer Daniela Pineda, who is gorgeous, good grief, with respect, my God, what a captivating beauty she is. She's been in some stuff, including Jurassic Park Fallen Kingdom. So, that being said, if you have not seen the first Accountant, here's a rundown. You have Ben Affleck, who plays Chris. He has a particular set of skills, and he has utilized them to basically take out bad people. He's also very good with taxes and numbers and everything, and also he's autistic, and uses that autism to power himself through life. He's a bit socially awkward, but it lends to, I guess, some humor. At least it did in the first. And his brother, Braxton John, is also hitman for hire, shall we say. Never really exactly clear who he works for. I mean, like, they give us, like, a little bit of a clue. It doesn't really fucking matter at the end of the day, but Mary Beth, played by Cynthia, who I have to say is very captivating. She works in a government role. Then you have Ray King, played by J.K. Simmons. And then you have a helper named Justine. That's your rundown right there. Anna Kendrick was in the first one. She is not back in this one, unfortunately. They kind of just push all that to the side. And in that one, it had a villain played by John Lithgow. It was a little bit silly, but it did have a wraparound story that was nice, told from the beginning, with, you know, some stuff in inner workings with characters. Even though there wasn't a lot of development to these characters, at least it wrapped up things nicely. I'm not exactly sure why they decided to make a sequel, considering the first one on a like $44 million budget made about $155 million worldwide. Now that's good, but that's not exactly, well, shit, we need to greenlight a sequel to this, a film that received middling reviews from critics and decent reviews from audiences. But, well, The Accountant 2 is out. And basically this time, he has to take down more bad people. And he's going to team up with Braxton. And Mary Beth is there. And at least we get a few more action scenes in this, and we get a little bit of banter between Christian and Braxton, and we get like one halfway funny scene a little bit later on, like in the latter half of the movie. And also we get a lot of goofiness, and we get a lot of terrible writing. And look, I'm not mixing words. I didn't like The Accountant 2 at all. I didn't even really like the first Accountant, but I thought it was all right. But I'm like, okay. The critical reviews are a little bit nicer this. I mean, the score on Rotten Tomatoes has dropped significantly in the past day or so. Letterboxd reviews were halfway decent, but I decided to sit down and watch it. I actually did this as the second half of the double feature with Until Dawn. Watch for that video. Depending on when you see this, watch for that video. So, yes, after the death of somebody, not death of a salesman, we can't go with that. That would have been actually hilarious if they referenced death of a salesman. Chris and Braxton team up to take down some bad guys. That's about all I can really get into right there. I do want to say, once again, Danielle Pineda factors into this particular plot. Such as it is, thin as it is, it's not very good. I mean, there are, like, elements that almost bubble up, but then there are parts where I'm like, okay, I know that this is supposed to be kind of fantasy, but when this film's trying to ground itself in reality and maybe give a voice to autistic people and put them, maybe not on a pedestal, but bring awareness to it, it just makes it so goofy. It makes it really, really fucking goofy. At least to me. At least with the people that I've talked to that are on various forms of the spectrum. If you're autistic, please let me know in the goddamn comments. What, you know, like, is this a good representation? Is it offensive? is just kind of middle of the road. Speaking of middle of the road, most of this movie is kind of middle of the road, but it does really go off the rails on a crazy train, especially in the last act. I thought that they really rushed things in the last act of the first one. Oh, no. They just decided to go full on goofy here. And I'm sorry, this didn't work. The Accountant 2 did not work for me, but it's inoffensive, but it's also unnecessary. And I think that's actually probably why I'm so annoyed with this movie. It's just so unnecessary. This could have easily gone to streaming. Now, it'll probably end up making a mint in theaters. Maybe. I don't know. If the budget's around the same. If the budget's maybe $50 or $60 million, it's fine. Maybe they'll end up making their money back. But it's really being released at a very weird time. Because it's radar. We're getting Thunderbolts coming up in a little bit. And we're also getting some other films. Maybe not quite like this, but that might get fans of this to go, and maybe this won't have a lot of staying power. Nevertheless, it is in theaters if you want to check it out, but it's just, again, painfully unnecessary. And for all the talk of, like Braxton and Christian having, more interactions and on-screen chemistry, yeah, they have more than they had in the first movie, but that's not saying much. It felt like they kind of made it seem like it was going to be a buddy cop thing. And yeah, there are a few buddy cop elements, but none of it really ends up going anywhere. And God forbid, they might actually do a third one. I hope not. Anyways, spoilers. So, basically, J.K. Simmons' character dies. He was talking to Anas, or I kept wanting to call her Anus. Anais. She is nice. She looks nice. But she is talking to J.K. Simmons' Ray King and the bar. He's about to retire. Financially, he's not doing very well, but he's still doing this stuff. And a hit is put out on him, basically. Two guys tried to beat him up in the bathroom. Nobody tried to leg dive him in the bathroom because he's not Vince McMahon with Harley Race, deep cut for wrestling fans. And he dies. And basically, Christian... there's one funny scene right after this where he's in Boise breaking down the algorithm of a speed dating thing for whatever reason I don't necessarily know. And then there's this picture that J.K. Simmons' character had that was of a family. It was a husband, a wife, and a child. And basically the husband ends up dead. By the way, the kid is missing, and the wife is she's presumed dead, but apparently got in a car accident and everything, and has just seemingly disappeared. And if you can't figure out who the fuck the mother is from very early on, I don't really know what to tell you. This movie really tipped its hand earlier, here, this is who this character is. It's an us. That's who it is. It's Daniela Pineda's character. It takes way too long to reveal that. Part of it is because she had memory issues due to a car accident, and she really had great, great cognitive ability, new cognitive abilities, figuring out chess and doing stuff to compete with people and stuff like that, and redevelop her skills, because apparently she used to be part of a trafficking ring. Yes, that's something that actually factors into this. It's all about trafficking. I will say they deal with this better than Working Man, or A Working Man, which, despite the fact I think this movie's about 10 to 15 minutes longer, and yes, it feels long in the poot, A Working Man felt way, way longer than it needed to, and I hated A Working Man a lot more than this. Now, Christian still has his trailer and his truck. He's moving around. Braxton, meanwhile, has a discussion while he's in Berlin, Germany, about getting a puppy. I think a corgi of some variety. But then he's still doing odd jobs, and at one point we cut to him talking to this blonde woman, and then basically Chris ends up calling him after not contacting him for 8 years and not really talking to him. Part of that could be because of the autism, part of that could also be because of the fact that they both have had a strained relationship with each other. But he needs his help. Oh yes, and Mary Beth decides to join up with Chris to discover, what's going on here. They find out about, this. They find out, in regards to these women that come into this country and everything. There's this pizza factory, and they find out about, cooking the books and everything, because he's really good at taxes. They did a lot of that in The Accountant 1, which again is infinitely better, more interesting than this one. And he ends up getting in a fight, Chris does, with the boss and also a couple of the guys. Freaks out the staff there. Then I wanted pizza really bad, and I had to wait till the movie was over. Fortunately, I had leftover pizza at home. Hooray for playing ahead. But it turns out that some of these women, the way he makes money on the side, some of these women are trafficked. I don't know how we get from pizza to trafficking, but okay. And the British woman, they kept calling him, the woman with the British voice and stuff like that. It is implied, and pretty much just actually shown totally, that it is Justine, who was from the first one, that gave him the puzzle piece so he could complete that Muhammad Ali poster. But she doesn't verbalize except through a talk-to-text thing, a supercomputer. And she's able to do that, and she's really, really smart. So smart now that they have a network of autistic people that do all this discovery stuff for Chris and other people. Okay, what? I mean, I'm not against the idea of propping people up and trying to have some fun, but what? And they're so goddamn smart, they can get into somebody's cell phone. There was a woman, a very attractive woman, I have to say, that was taking a selfie, caught a picture of Anas, who actually is called Edith. By the way, I'm just going to refer to her as Edith. Edith, we're supposed to be incognitus. If you get that reference, I love you guys. And they tried to discover more about her. Basically, because she was trafficked, she is now taking revenge on the villain that is actually named Bert. There's a villain named Bert in this. How can I take this goddamn movie seriously? Hey, Bert. And there's also this weird guy that kind of, he kind of look like a discount version of Sean William Scott, like in his earlier days. Like the one movie where he had the weird mullet. Like the Dude Where's My Car, theme. Anyway, nevertheless, I mean, that wasn't, I don't think that was Sean Williams. That being said, this villain just is so good that he's able to shoot this one guy that they captured that was running this trafficking ring, and then they left him in the trunk for a while. There was this funny part, actually, where they were in a hotel where this one woman talked about how she's putting her life on the line, and Ben Affleck pulls out a big wad and gives it to her. That's not a euphemism. It's a wall of cash. I run a clean show here. But I guess that's supposed to be kind of funny, I guess. But then they capture this guy, Tomas, and they leave him in the trunk of their car, seemingly overnight while they're doing all this investigating and all this crazy stuff in J.K. Simmons' old house. The Mary Beth has made her headquarters for what, I mean, I know that they meant something to each other because Ray King actually was able to save her career, despite the fact that he initially threatened her career in the first one, but sure. And yeah, the entire network of Justine and her minions are doing all this stuff. They hack into the woman's phone to get the picture. They find out about this woman. She used to be named Edith, and her son is being held in Juarez. And the idea here is that Edith is sent on a contract kill to take care of Mary Beth. Initially, that was sent to him, or to, Braxton, to take care of, but he didn't want to do it, so Edith went to do it, and got in a fight with Mary Beth, who was totally outmatched here, and then saw the picture of the family and suddenly remembered, and that was even something that Hey Bert said, where it's like, well, the girl saw me, but I don't think she remembered me, but if she does remember me, I'm screwed. And because her kid got taken, and then she got, what she got into, and then got into that accident, and lost her memory, but then regained her memory and new abilities. Apparently, it's really confusing. It's really confusing because I just didn't care. And meanwhile, Chris and Braxton have halfway decent banter. I mean, there's this one part in a country bar where the brothers are there. Dominic Domingo, I have never heard of this woman before. I would have been happy following her character for a while. Put her in more movies. Seriously, she commanded the screen there, as awful as I'm speaking words here, because she left me tongue-tied because she looked really goddamn good. But also, in all seriousness, it was nice there was a line dancing part. That was actually kind of funny. That's where I was like, okay, the movie's trying to come alive. He's trying to come out of his bubble. Okay, oh no, we're just going to do that. We're just going to do that. So after Mary Beth basically gets gut stabbed by Edith, Edith goes off to get her kid after Chris shows up and basically says, hey, your son's being held in Juarez. Oh, but we're going to go get him. And then they went and got him. Shooting out and stuff like that. It looked like Braxton might get killed, but he didn't. Chris hit him with the truck. The one goofy Sean William Scott mulleted. Actually, he doesn't look like Sean William Scott. That's just the only reference point I have. And he ends up taking a bunch of kids to the desert while He's going to bury him in a hole. Just let children live. Why do we have to go with... I mean, and I'm not talking about the movie, but I don't care what country children come from. I don't care what country adults come from. They're human beings and they deserve to be taken care of. Let's accept that. If you can't accept that, then you're a fucking bigot and an idiot. That being said, the kids are in a goddamn hole, and the kid, Alberto, I believe is his name, is the last one on the bus because evidently he just had to be there for this one final showdown. Or the guy's holding him, it's like, no, you want Bert, hey Bert. But then Braxton ends up shooting the guy from behind in the head, and they get Alberto, and everything's good. Driving the bus back with all the kids, because they're going to reunite them with their parents, I guess. And Braxton says, stop in the road, and sees a cat. He realizes instead of a dog person, he's a cat person. Finds a pretty orange tabby, as opposed to a non-orange tabby. Finds it, and is going to take it home. Oh, yes, and then, by the way, Alberto's going to that New Hampshire clinic thing. Handover, whatever the hell it's called. I don't care. And he's going to be there because he's really, really smart, and he's just like Chris. That's who I was trying to think of. And Bert ends up basically getting killed because, well, Edith is out for revenge. And see, at this point, I was zoning out, like, before the third act even started, because just none of it really fucking mattered. And there was a little bit of banter at the end about, hey, the kid's holding the cat, and Braxton's getting jealous. Like, how long does it take? Why can't I hold the cat? And then it ends with they're going to go take a hike after Alberto goes to this clinic or facility. And Mary Beth basically calls Justine to thank her, and all that's worked out good. And yeah, that's the accountant too. I probably skipped over a few things. I don't really care because I was struggling to remember much as things were going on. So yeah, I'm sorry, F. Check out my Letterboxd if you want to see the star rating I gave it. So agree, disagree, what I said. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter, Letterboxd, Blue Sky handles in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.